Hey guys, Phil again, or Peepo. I might as well just start calling myself Peepo all the time. I might as well just get rid of the name Phil. Yeah, I think that would be a smart move, don't you? But anyway, today's review is going to be about ThroneLite. Not actually about this nice, pretty, slightly used Nas 2. Are you gonna try and come up here? Huh? Ah, there you are. Anyway, that's Zephyr. If you guys haven't met her yet, she'll probably come in frames at some point. But that's my cat. But so, ThroneLite, brand new mesh from Throne of Strings. I've only ever done one other review, and that was Throne Leathers from them. Here, here. See? There she is. She decided to come and attack me. You're crazy. You're crazy. But anyway, on the Throne Leathers, like I was talking about, the Throne Leathers, I gave my review on those, and I really like them. Although there obviously can always be improvements for any product, but ThroneLite is the new mesh that's coming from Throne of String. I've never liked Throne of String Throne mesh. I I felt that it was rather incomplete, not very well thought through about how to make it, that it was very focused towards only one real group of people, and that it wasn't very versatile. And albeit they had some pretty nice dye colors and everything like that, they Joe was rather good and fair about showing off what he's done, but they never really tried to stay with the times, if you will, about when it comes to their product. I feel that before I really get into the review of the mesh, I feel that they were very late coming out with this mesh. I feel that they're a little bit behind the other companies that are out there, although they do have their following. They do have people that really only use Throne mesh, which you can't fault those people for it. They like what they like and they're going to use it. But so when it comes to the actual ThroneLite, it's a rather decent improvement from what I've dealt with actual Throne mesh. The mesh is a little bit thinner, definitely lighter than, hence the name ThroneLite. Doesn't feel like there's as much wax, although the stiffness or hardness of the mesh hasn't changed, in my opinion, from the original. It's still rather stiff, almost like it's actual hard mesh, old school hard mesh that's somewhat broken in, and so it holds its shape pretty well, as you can kind of see with how the pockets turned out with this one. Obviously I just punched it out a little bit, but with that stiffness, I really wouldn't suggest that you use this mesh for face-offs. Stringability, I usually like to do 10 diamond tops with my stringings with mesh nowadays. I've always really liked 10 diamonds, but until I'm a lot better with stringing, I've always just stuck to 9 diamonds because that's what most people use. But so when I was messing around with it the first time initially, and it had just 9 diamond top string, it was pretty efficient at that. It stretched out pretty well. I didn't really have too much difficulty transferring it to something else, like transferring it from one head to another or anything like that, or even really transferring a pattern from, say, East Coast mesh to this. Although part of the reason why I've never really liked Throne mesh is because the original Throne mesh was very like when you pulled it and stretched it, it was almost like old school hard mesh, completely and utterly broken in, where the diamonds were very stretched, and you could never quite get the definition that you wanted. The old school throne mesh had what was called D mesh, where the diamonds would be shaped in a D. Like one side of the diamond would be fine, and then the other one would be very straight. And that was the older style Gimalax raw mesh that they used to make. Nowadays, it's much more streamlined, and the diamonds are a lot more defined or symmetrical and even. So they've picked up a different type of weave for the diamonds, so it's much more efficient. It's more symmetrical. It doesn't kind of pull to one side or the other. The wax is much more infused. That's one thing that I can actually give Throne props for, is actually having well infused formula into their mesh. That's one of the big things that I can probably give them as far as props when it comes to their mesh, is that there's really no flaking ever. It's pretty much like most people advertise when they talk about their wax mesh, is that it's infused. It's part of the fabric, basically, because that's what this is it's yarn and all that stuff. Is that it's almost like it is literally the material that the mesh is made out of, that it's become part of it. I do feel that the actual mesh, once it's done and arrived in the package, is a little too long. Once I was done stringing it, it was about that long, and that was with folding it directly on the edge here, and I didn't really like that. I don't like the fact that it's so long. I mean, it's good if you end up putting it in or cutting it in half and using it for like trad mesh pockets or anything like that, that you'll have plenty for two pieces if you plan on doing that. But if you're going to just string up one piece and then have all this long, almost 5-6 rows of diamonds off of it that you got to cut away, then on the initial production of the mesh, that's a waste. That's a waste of material right there. And then pretty much a majority of people that string nowadays, they string over top of this first diamond. Whether it's a 10D top string or a 9D top string, a majority, I'm just going to throw a number out there, maybe about 70% or more people fold over on that very first row of diamonds, so that they don't have a clutter of material at the top, which will eventually gather weight by dirt, water, whatever you pretty much play in. It's going to accumulate that material up there, the more material that's already initially there. So I feel that's a little counterproductive as far as light is concerned. But again, going back to stringing, it stretches out nicely. As you can see, I managed to have somewhat of a rather defined pocket, even though I'm not very well known for having an extremely defined pocket. No matter who I'm stringing for, I don't really like doing that, because I find that it's a little bit more efficient for the player to have a smoother release. Even if they generally don't use that, they end up actually converting to that. So overall, it's an improvement from the old Throne mesh, which I've never been a fan of. Although I'm probably personally not going to use this beyond using it for this video and putting in this NOS. I'm probably going to give it to somebody that'll put some better use to it and actually use it. Whereas me, I'm kind of stuck with I just keep coming back to traditional pockets. But overall, solid mesh. Again, there could be some pretty decent improvements, although a large quantity of people are starting to move away from wax mesh nowadays. So it's, again, behind the curve when it comes to product. And if Throne wants to stay in business as far as the mesh is concerned, I think they need to speed up and have a little bit better R&D when it comes to what they're going to do with their mesh. But if you're looking for a solid wax mesh that is roughly pretty good all around, ThroneLite from Throne String is a decent product to go look at or try and get a hold of in order to see if it's for you. If you're still a wax user and you like the old school style of having a hard pocket, then this is probably up your alley. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed kind of seeing my cat every so often in the video, and hopefully you got a little bit of information as well as enjoyed me talking about it. So thanks for watching, guys. There's more stuff coming, so keep an eye out. I'll catch you later.